It's a very move on your part to keep avoiding Dean.
Then debate me.
People like
Let
you.
me on the mic. Let me on the mic.
Get Dean on the mic. That's the whole reason I came up here.
Thank
it's a
you.
move for you to keep avoiding him.
This was Dean's whole plan. I'm going to bring these people here. Woo!
We've been told by every single one of Kirk's staffers that he doesn't want to talk to us. Yeah, I have some disagreeing questions.
Yeah, see, this is really interesting, dude. Like talking about the debate culture, because obviously the Dean Withers and Parker and these young guys that are heavy into this debate culture. Debate culture is very much, it's like a young thing, right? I know it is. Youth movement, which is like, cool. Not going to judge them for that, right? It's keeping them activated and shit. But this is a good example, right? Where Charlie Kirk, he likes to go to these college campuses and he likes to talk to students and he uses them for content in order to like red pill other young people, right? He's creating content but he's setting it up so he's always talking to a certain type of young person and interacting with a certain type of young person that allows him to, make appearances of intellectual superiority. And then he's manipulating all that content to try and like turn young people toward the red pill side. And again, yeah, it's interesting. I feel like it's really powerful propaganda at the moment.
Well, that's something you're going to have to talk to somebody else about.
The reason we weren't let in line is because we don't go to college. But apparently neither does a guy on the mic. Yeah, we're in MAGA territory now. We need to be very respectful.
Hey, Charlie, Dean's here.
Dude, look at him though. Look at him. Dude, Dean is just sitting there sweating him, bro. And like, dude, I kind of really enjoy this. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing him sweat like that because he is such an opportunist and he is such a clown that like always tries to insert himself into situations where he has an upper hand. He's a total manipulator.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
You have a permit?
We should talk. Trying to talk to Charlie Kirk, but it's not working. Do you think me and Kirk should have a conversation?
100%.
You got to get me up there, man.
You may be purposely ignoring you.
This is proving
Dude,
to be-
look at all the MAGA hats, though. Like, Jenny and I were talking about this, right? Look at, there is a serious proliferation of this right-wing shit with young men, guys. Young men have really, a lot of them have bought in to this MAGA stuff because it's telling them that they're dominant and that they're allowed to be bullies and use slurs and can put people down and aggress and that the world has been stacked up against them. And so all their misery is because of wokeness and because of women and because of like DEI. And they're really, they are, I mean, young men are being tricked. It's like, it is mostly white boys. It is. And they are being tricked. They are being tricked into like providing political power to a group of people that doesn't give a shit about them, that would not fucking stop to help them under any circumstances. And they are being delivered a lie about manhood and about, emotional regulation that is going to haunt them. They're going to figure it out by the time they're like 40. And then though, it's going to be like really late for many of them. It makes me really sad because it's like, I understand why they're angry. Okay. I understand why they're upset because we live in a culture that doesn't cater to young men's mental health. Okay. It doesn't. And yet it privileges them in oodles of ways. So it's like young men grow up with this, and especially young white men. I'm talking about white men. If you're a man of color, it's a very different experience. But young white men grow up with this insane privilege. And in the last 20 years, there have been some instances where there are consequences for your behavior, which feels like a slight to the insane privilege because they're so used to this privilege that now any consequences or any loss of the top spot feels like the world is stacking up against them. And so this lack of attention to their mental health and the removal of third spaces, you know what I'm saying? Like there are no third spaces, guys. We used to have things like, you know, coffee shops that cater to young people and music venues and theater spaces and bowling alleys. And you know what I mean? There used to be roller rinks. There used to be all these third spaces. And now there aren't. There are no third spaces. Young men are in Discord chats or video game headsets, and they're isolated and they're lonely and they're a couple of years behind their female counterparts, and nobody's tending to their mental health. A lot of them have fathers that are my age who never went to therapy, never got help for their own trauma. So they're not getting any parental guidance in emotional regulation and healing. And so they're just really vulnerable to this kind of messaging that's like, you're angry? Let me tell you how you can use your anger and you're going to get rich and powerful like we are. And so they're luring them with this promise of like wealth and power. And in a world where there's this huge economic divide, it's really music to their ears. And it's hard because other kids their age are like becoming these famous influencers and they're saying, yeah, like this is amazing, right? They're kind of like the people they look up to are selling them the same thing. You know, now there's a lot of people that are just famous because they had some TikToks blow up, right? So they're just idolizing this. Maybe I can be rich too. Maybe if I put this debate content on my TikTok, I'm going to blow up too. Dude, it's crazy. We are in the middle of a reality TV simulation, man. And Donald Trump has emboldened this. You know, that's really why they like him, guys. But anyway, dude, young people are in trouble. Can I just show you guys something while we're on the discussion of this? Because look at this. This is referencing these young MAGA hats. It was a post that someone did about young people swinging to Republicans, young men, like 18 to 21. But what's crazy about it is, right here. Okay, this one where he says Gen Z swings red, 18 to 21, right? Men, Republican plus 19. And this guy, look at, he says Democrats created an uber conservative generation. Created it, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you love how what's wild about this is this is an ongoing theme, right? Where people, when they become Republicans, they like to say they became Republicans because of the Democrats. Like, you created this. You made me choose this party. Have you noticed that? It's like being a Republican is inherently toxic and you're siding with a whole bunch of negative, bad people. But what they do is they go and move to that side and then say it was your Democratic behavior that made me go do this. And that's really weird. Like, they try to remove their personal responsibility of having made the choice, right? But look at this. I said all this shows is that young men 18 to 21 are really fucking hurting and making terrible choices for themselves and their loved ones. It's pretty sad, actually. But look at the number of replies, bro. Dude, the comments on this thing are, I'm not even opening them up, but there's a lot of, like, of course, calling me an F slur and all this other shit, and like, railing on me for being a punk and brainwashed. Oh, you're brainwashed, and oh, you made us this way, blah, blah, blah. But when you point out that young men are hurting, which is why they're making these decisions, dude, it like really gets people triggered, okay? It really gets people triggered. Like this swing, young men swinging to the Republican, and who are they defending? There's Trump, who's a racist. There's Andrew Tate, who's a racist and a human trafficker, right? Matt Gaetz is a human trafficker. Conor McGregor is a racist. Russell Brand is a rapist. RFK Jr., multiple accusations of sexual assault and philanderer, serial adulterer, right? Pete Hegseth, NDAs for rape, right? They're all rapists. You know what I mean? Like many of the men up here at the top of this right-wing set are rapists and human traffickers, bro. So like young men skewing to that side, hugely unhealthy for them. A huge sign of like heart pains, heart hurting, related, you know what I'm saying? Related to this men swinging this hard towards these rapists and idolizing these rapists. Huge amount of pain. Like our young men are in trouble, right? They're in deep trouble. But when you talk about it, that like, wow, they're in fucking trouble, people get triggered, man. Dude, they get fucking triggered because there's something going on, right? Young men are hurting in a profound way, you know? But like, dude, culture is not healthy. It's not healthy for the men. You know what I'm saying? Rape culture is not healthy for the men. It isn't. You know, I mean, we know it's unhealthy for the women, but it is unhealthy for the men too, right? Like nobody, if you look at Donald Trump, right, or you look at Andrew Tate, regardless of their persona and all that, if you just look at them, you know they're not healthy people, right? Everybody knows Donald Trump is not healthy. We know that. We know Andrew Tate is not healthy, okay? We know that. I mean, it's real obvious that these guys are not connected healthy. They are flailing, attacky, thin skin, constantly overreacting, constantly putting down men and women around them, right? They are constantly belittling, like you never really see them lift anybody up, hardly, right? It's just a constant state of belittling and reaction and overreaction and flailing and you know, a constant, insecure, like constantly obsessed with how the world looks at them. Like, oh my God, that portrait of me is so unflattering. So now I'm going to talk about the fact that you shared an unflattering portrait of me. I'm going to talk about this relentlessly for a week because the thought of me not looking perfect in a painting causes me to obsess because I'm just so fragile. It's crazy. But yeah, this is a warning shot.
Very difficult.
I think that we are in the free marketplace of ideas. Anyone should be able to come up here and challenge and debate you. If you're really for that, as you say you would allow someone to come up here and debate you on that.
Yeah, but see, we know that Charlie Kirk is not really for the marketplace of ideas. Charlie Kirk is got a mission to red pill young people. That's what Charlie Kirk does. Okay, Charlie Kirk has a very definitive mission. His mission is to red pill young men so then they can be used to gain political power for the right-wing evangelical movement. That's what he does. If you break it down, TPUSA, it's like the right-wing political movement, the White Christian Nationalist Heritage Foundation, the evangelical billionaires, they want political power in order to set the rules for the whole country. And their path to gaining and acquiring that power is by winning young men, fervently young men that will be like their foot soldiers. But what's crazy about it is the young men, these young men, they don't get anything out of it. When we go and we look at this crowd, at the end of this, these guys don't get anything out of it. They don't get anything out of it. They're not going to get higher wages. They're not going to get better health care benefits. If something happens to their wife during childbirth, depending on the state they live in, they may leave her to die. Like, especially if they're a man of color, white people are afforded more of these fucking privileges. But if they live in rural communities, the people they're voting for are not going to take care of those rural communities. They're not going to offer them, you know, addiction treatment to help them if they get addicted to OxyContin after they hurt their back at work. They're not going to get them healthier jobs. In fact, they're actively, what do they want to do? They want to give them coal mining jobs. You know what the life expectancy of a coal miner is? It's like less than 50, bro. The coal miners, their life expectancy is 49. And the fucking red hats are bringing back coal mining, dude. Like, bro, what the They're not getting anything out of this. Sure, they can say some slurs. All right. I just don't think that's going to be a great deal. You know, but whatevs. Oh, yeah, dude. If you look at it, look at this poll right here. This is a recent Siena New York Times poll. Look at this shit, dude. His job approval, 18 to 29, is minus 43. Okay? 30 to 44, minus 16. 45 to 64, that's me, minus 3. My generation is the worst. And then minus 6 for the old people. But look at this. The only group he's winning is white non-college. Okay? Uneducated white people, that's like the entitlement belt. Okay? The people that aren't doing the work, they're not going to college, they're not expanding their horizons, they're not trying to evolve, but they want to be given. Okay? And they want to take from everybody else. They feel like, you know, if a woman or black person gets the job, that means they were cheated. But it's like, no, goddamn, that woman has a master's degree and you're just good at Call of Duty. Like, sorry, but you got to be better than being decent at Call of Duty and being able to swill a 12-pack of PBR to get the fucking job, right? This black guy has a fucking double master's degree from a university, and you can like get 6 sniper kills on a fucking Call of Duty map. Like, fuck off, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dude, look at the black though, minus 75. Hispanic, minus 23. But guys, here's my beef with these polls. I do have a beef with these polls. Can I just tell you? My beef with these polls is like, we knew this. We knew this. Why are we having this poll? Why are the 18 to 29 minus 43? Like, we knew what we were getting. This guy, this Trump guy, he was president before, guys. We lived through it. We watched him bungle COVID. We watched him not do great shit with the economy. We watched him break ground on Foxconn with his little shovels, and then the factory never appeared in Wisconsin. We watched him lie 30,000 times. We watched him start a riot on January 6th afterwards. So we knew he was talking about tariffs. He was talking about mass deportations and chaos. We knew every day with him was chaos. And I guess some of these people, right, if they're 18, sure, 4 years ago they were 14, they didn't know. But if you're 25, you know what I'm saying? So this is problematic to me that like we had to get here. You know, this is why, is America ever going to get nice things? Or are we just going to constantly make bad decisions and then be like, oh yeah, we kind of knew this was going to happen. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.